everyone, welcome back to the second episode. Welcome back to the office, Shaun D. It's been a while. Hope you had a good December. Obviously, everyone is well rested, hopefully, for the new year. And obviously, I hope everyone is ready for the new year ahead. How was your holiday, man?
I think December was too quick, eh? And as people in the financial markets, we don't really go on holiday, do we? But at least the pace slowed down a little bit. But happy to be back. Happy to be back on the podcast as well. And let's rock and roll this year.
Yeah, I look forward to everything we're going to do. Obviously, the next episode we'll have some guests on. That's where we're going to start. I'm not sure what guest is. For the first episode, I still need to decide on that. I'm thinking of bringing quite a good institutional trader on the podcast. Obviously, now with everything happening. So either going to be that or some regulation. Because obviously, for a lot of us, like you said, December for me as well. I mean, I took some time off for 3 days. And then from there, just a lot of planning. I think that's the key thing for me to going into a year is always just planning ahead what I'm going to do. Because a lot of times you come back and then you're like so shaky of like, okay, well, and it was a long December. Obviously the routine breaks and everything. For me, I just stick into routine. I think December is just another month, another year. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So obviously now with the regulation changes, we talked a little bit about it towards the end of the year last year. So we've now seen, obviously, XM, first of all, taking away the copy trading. And I mean, XM is not a small broker. It's a really big broker, and I think everything is falling into place. And I mean, we talked about it before everyone actually started talking about it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought we're probably crazy in a way that we're saying that CAT 2 is going to be for copy trading, and then CAT 1 is going to be for financial services. And obviously, HFM also coming out and saying, well, if you are IB and you are offering financial services, then you need to have your CAT 1, and that's obviously why they built the solution for their partners, which we obviously did at Trive as well, which is obviously a third-party company that we're also using in CompliShield. So it does seem that everyone is moving into the right direction once again, and it's going to be a lot of changes coming in this year. Exactly. So for the IB space, I think it's quite tough. Because obviously that 10 grand, let's say for example, I mean that's your average pricing. It's quite steep. If you look at
CompliShield, just
yeah, a little bit cheaper, but it's still quite a cheap price, a big price if you think about it. Because if you are in an IB space, it's quite a big amount that you need to make out of it.
100%. I think that it's an interesting thing, because I just want to, before I jump into that, going into the regulations, right, is that yes, HFM reacted, XM reacted. We've got our own solution through CompliShield, etc., which was the first in the game, that to my understanding at least. But there was also a lot of fines, like a lot of individuals towards the end of last year started seeing that a lot of people are getting fined. And it's been quiet, obviously, because it's December. But I foresee that from Jan going into the year, there is definitely going to be more fines. FSCA is hammering down on these people. And that's why it's important, to be covered, to have these umbrellas. But for IBs, it becomes slightly complicated because your bigger IBs will be able to afford, the 7.5 or the 10K or whatever in order for you to be under that umbrella. But I'm just interested to see what happens with the smaller IBs. What do we do with those? Because every day there's a new IB coming into the game. Every day there's a person that believes has got a following and he knows how to trade. And what do we do with those guys?
I think that's the interesting part because, for example, if you look at this, I always say that if you're a good, profitable trader, you need to get into the education space. And the reason for that is, once again, you're leveraging your skill. In anything in life, it's all about leveraging your skill, whether you're in finance, banking, whatever it is, you're always going to leverage your skill. So now if you look at it, for example, let's say you're a full-time trader, you're a profitable trader. Now you need to start an education company. Back then, you start an education company because you have the skill. Quite easy, you sell your classes, you sell your signals, you do your copy trading, whatever way you want to make money. Whereas of now, you need to pay, let's say 10K a month to get into, the barrier of entry is getting now expensive. Where it was zero, maybe just starting a website, building a course, etc. Now you have that 10K. So that means you actually need to be a profitable trader because you need to now fund a legitimate business, which I think is good. Because with any business that you're going to start, you're going to need some startup capital. You're going to need these things to fall into place where back then you can just decide, my name is Juan today, I'm a full-time trader and I sell courses for 10,000 Rand a month because of X, Y, Z. So I think it's good to have a barrier of entry into the finance space, and in this way we'll also see a lot of cleaning up in the industry.
100%. And you speak about education. I like what once again, we got solutions, right? So we got Trive Lab, where it's already an in-house educational system that we are running, so naturally to be licensed, etc., etc. So that's also a good offering for the guys that, whether you're an IB or non-IB, but you don't have the 10K per se, right? We're still able to offer you an alternative, but the only thing is that now you're going to be following our in-house, educational platform. I know you do webinars, we do these podcasts, etc., just to keep these clients and the public at large, aware of the space that we're in and offering tools that are at least a little bit more accessible for the person that doesn't have cash. So I think also people need to check out Trive Lab as well, because I think that's a good educational hub that, you can start your trading journey for without having to follow, let's call it an IB, because, well, we are licensed. We do have the Cat 1, Cat 2 as you're a seasoned trader, etc. So that's also another safety alternative, for clients as well.
Yeah, I think it's once again, it's obviously a passion project of mine. I've been doing education for a long time, 4 years now, that I haven't charged a cent for education. I left the education space a long time for specific reasons, and obviously now with Trive giving me the opportunity of offering free education is something that I really appreciate, obviously, because it's something that I can give to clients 100% for free. And I think the industry over the years have changed and moved away so much from education. It just got to signals. I won't even say copy trading, because a lot of guys weren't doing copy trading because you need to physically be a trader to do copy trading. But everyone moved into the robot EA space, Sculptor 3000, and obviously all these things. And for me, I think when I started trading 10 years back, it was so simple. Not simple, trading remains really difficult part, but it was easier to learn how to trade back then because there was no guys on Instagram. The only two guys that was Instagram was Jason and Ashley from Go Forex. The only two guys that I saw on Instagram. So imagine if you open your Instagram, you don't see any traders, you don't see any noise, everyone making R1 million a day, etc. It's such an easy way to learn. And back then there was only courses. I think people still stuck to one way of education is key, which is the foundation of everything. If you want to get a job in engineering, doctor, whatever, education is going to be your core foundation to get into those directions. So I think with Trive Lab, what we're obviously trying to build, number one, is taking away the fact that you need to pay for education. And number two, obviously having access to quality education. And it's not about the ICT concepts or SMC or silver bullet or all these things that people see today. Because I actually did a video on this where I was exposing, in a way, SMC. And if you look at smart money concepts, it's market structure. It's literally a market structure strategy. And the reason people rebrand these courses is quite a simple reason. Because if you search for, let's say, market structure, you're going to get what market structure is. But now when you see SMC, then you're like, oh, smart money concepts. Then you end up buying courses. So it's just a smart way of rebranding something. And it's the same thing if I have tomorrow, say, show a little bit of a crypto portfolio, and then just say, I have the crypto exposure 3000 that's going to trade crypto for you. Everyone will buy it because crypto is on a high. It will be now like, okay, I need to get into crypto, and this is an EA that will help me to get into crypto.
I want to ask you something about crypto quickly, but before I go there, I just wanted to touch one more point on education. The cool thing about education, right, in my opinion, right, and a solution like Trive Lab, right, first of all, it's resolving clients not having to follow someone and signals or whatever the case may be. You learn for yourself. So you're actually creating an actual trader, if you want to call it that way. So someone that's independent, because what I see a lot of the time is that in the market is that people don't trade unless they have someone to follow, right? Yeah. But with a solution like Trive Lab, I can then learn how to monitor the market myself, do my charting myself, when to execute, how to set up my risk parameters, etc. So that skill you'll have going forward, and you'll obviously build upon it, as opposed to maybe you're following a guy and then, I know, speaking about regulation, like I'm in compliance, but you're following a guy, and then this guy gets fined, and maybe he stops offering you back to ground zero. You actually can't trade because all you're doing is someone says copy paste, right? Cool. So that was a key point on education. But now touching on crypto, right? What are your thoughts on crypto?
Well, for me, I actually started investing in crypto in I think it was 2016. I was about 2-3 years into trading. Then I started investing in this. So a funny story I made. So the residence I was staying in University of Pretoria was called, I can't say the name, but because it's changed now and there's some specific reasons why I can't say it. But anyway, it was there's a residence where we stayed in, and anyways, there was the lady that owned the block. I mean, it was a whole block. It's probably 100 million rand plus properties. So obviously, you saw she understands business. So for me, I was always staying close to her, learning from her, etc. And then I started this trading thing, and then in the residence still, I wasn't selling courses or anything, but I was still staying in the res. Still at Turks. Imagine all of a sudden I was driving a Polo. Then all of a sudden I stopped there with the BMW and the Audi. And then obviously she started asking questions like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? And we're like, no, we do Forex trading. This is how it works, etc. And then she was like, okay, she also does crypto. And then back then, I'm in 2016, 2015, crypto was still relatively new. And then she introduced us to this lady. We still went, there's a Duncan Yard, is the place name next to where the res was. We met up with this lady. She stops there. I think it was either Range Rover or Audi. And she stops there and she was like, okay, so you guys want to get into crypto? And we're like, yeah, well, we've obviously done a few things. So by that time, the only crypto we invested in was this thing that will make it 2.5% a day. So back then, remember, I was also young. I was also uneducated. So for me, I was like 2.5% a day. Just invest in this Bitcoin scheme. And we lost about 100K in that. But you have to go through that lessons. I mean, I see the guy's locked up. I can't say his name. He's a South African guy. I think it was Bitcoins for Africa was the name. And then I see the guy's finally locked up now. But then she told us, you need to invest. So we invested in Bitcoin a little bit, I think like 20, 30K. And then she told us we need to invest in a coin called XRP. So at that time, it was more like a word of mouth type of thing. I had no idea what XRP was. I mean, XRP just started out. So obviously we saw its quick transaction. It's obviously cheaper solution to crypto as well. Then it was 10 cents of a rand. So at the moment, I think it's $2.4. So it should be just over 40 rand. It was 10 cents of a rand back then. So then we did two things. We invested in it and we also bought it on, I think it was IC markets. We bought it physically, leverage traded. Because I mean, your downside risk is so small and your upside potential is so big. So from there, I mean, it just went straight up. And that's actually how I bought my first apartment. But the key thing for me about crypto is there's three key things. Number one, it's such a simple thing if you look at crypto, okay? Crypto, obviously, there's certain cryptos that will work, certain that won't work. But the one thing that I read even this morning again was, remember, they can print more money, they can build more houses, but they can't create more Bitcoin. It's something that will always be limited, and that's why it will always have a high value. But for me, it's a simple concept of upside potential versus downside risk. If you look at Bitcoin at the moment, it's sitting at like $104,000, the high is $110,000. So anyone coming in and saying, yeah, Bitcoin is going to $1 million, ask that same person based on what information. They'll tell you, no, it's going to go. It's obvious. Like, it's like you can't say things are obvious. It's about what's the highs and what's the lows. So if you're buying at $104,000, the upside potential is $6,000, the downside is $104,000. So when that coin starts dropping, your dollar value will go down so much towards your upside potential. So it's always a simple thing with crypto, and you always see this, is if crypto gets to new high points, you'll see all the articles coming out. Bitcoin, it's new high. Bitcoin is going to become the new bank. All the good articles. The reason for that is now you as a retail investor read these articles on Facebook most probably because that's where they're pushing it to. You buy the crypto. Why do you buy the crypto? Because of the good articles. Who are you buying the crypto from? From the big institutional guys. So they are posting and buying these articles for you to buy their crypto from them at the highs. And then once it crashes, it comes down. What are they going to do? They're going to turn the media. Once they turn the media, Bitcoin is done. Bitcoin was a bubble. They buy their coins back from you at the cheaper rate.
So you're saying to me, right, crypto is basically just being, it's like a recycling type scenario.
I said the other day, I think it's the closest thing you get to money printing because I mean, it's literally, it runs in cycles, but obviously just like any Forex chart, it runs in cycles, but there's also a big psychological factor to it. Yes, it runs in cycles, but now, for example, so in 2019, I had a lot of friends that I just helped to buy XRP because I was buying XRP and they know I've been doing this since 2016. So every now and then when there's a dip, they'll message me. And we went to 2.8, and then on 2.8, I told them, look, guys, I'm happy. I got in at 0.3, really good returns. I'm getting out of the crypto. Then my friend was like, yeah, but this thing is going to run, my friend. I'm like, you ask me what my opinion is, and then you telling me you've never read anything about it, then you're telling me what's going to happen with no experience, because that's where greed kicks in. So now it's holding on. We're back at 2.1, 2.2. So already that factor comes in now of like, okay, now I need to hold back to the new highs. So eventually that thing drops down back to zero, and those guys stays in the cycles forever. So they just stay trapped in this investment where they never get out.
So, Jerome, sorry to cut you off, right? But for me, I think crypto is such, I stay away from crypto personally. And the reason why I stay away from crypto, because I don't truly believe the fundamentals. Because I'm just like, okay, where are the fundamentals coming from, right? Because if we look at like your normal currency pair, let's call it Euro USD, you know that there's so many factors coming into USD. So obviously you can do your technical analysis, but then also from a fundamental analysis, something as silly as NFP, right? You know, okay, this is what happens when the numbers are like this, et cetera, right? So I'm not saying you can predict the market per se, but it's got a backing, right? So it's got a backing to say, okay, cool, this is what tends to happen on when market news is like this and on the chart is like this, etc. But with crypto, as much as it's been, it's great. I mean, the numbers where it's at currently versus where, like Bitcoin, for example, versus where it was maybe even like 2023, right? I mean, it's really pushed higher and higher and higher and higher. But if someone can break it down to me to tell me, okay, what is this thing reacting to besides you and I buying and selling, right? Like just a normal market. How do we then analyze it? How do I break it down, from a fundamental perspective? Technically, it's easy. I mean, you're going to look at the charts, okay, cool, etc., right? But Donald Trump tomorrow can just decide, okay, I hate crypto, then it's going to crash. Or I love crypto, then it's going to go up. So things like that is what makes it,
like, it's a scary market. It's nothing but scary. But for me, it's, once again, if you look at the downside risk versus upside potential, and I think it's not just with cryptos, but with anything, if you invest with a smart mind and a logical mind, it's worth it. But obviously, once again, like I said, don't invest at the highs and don't sell at the lows. So I think with any investment, it's pretty much the same thing. But obviously with Bitcoin, yes, that is the scary part about crypto. I've seen coins. Look at Dogecoin. Dogecoin, everyone was praising it. Elon Musk was pushing it. Everyone was pushing it. And then, it's a meme coin. If you invest in a meme coin, it's a meme coin. It does what it's supposed to do. It's going to pump and dump. That's exactly what it was. But at the end of the day, that's why people hate crypto. And I think people also hate crypto because of all these Ponzi schemes and things that we see happening. But we also see similar Ponzi schemes in the Forex industry. And I think that was the funniest thing, is when I picked up my daughter from a friend's house. They went to a spa or something, I can't remember. And then the guy's like, what industry? And we had this chat, the previous podcast as well. And this happened in the middle. So the guy asked me, what do I do for a living? I'm like, I'm in the financial space. And then he's like, yeah, what financial space? And I'm like, no, I trade Forex. And he's like, haha, Forex. And immediately that reaction, once again, was the reason that's 2025 is hyping me up. Because I really want them to really clean up this industry and make sure the legitimate name comes through. Because we still see these guys that's promoting EAs that's based on copy trading, and they're doing this, they're doing that. And it's just like these guys don't care about anything that's happening in the industry. And I really believe we need some cleaning up for us to love the industry again, because I really have a love for the industry. I know you have a love for the industry. It's a wild industry, but we still love it.
The wild west.
Yeah, but I think it's still a good industry for us to go into and stay into. I do believe the long-term potential is there. But once again, you need to be realistic and logical about everything you do. I actually did a video about logical thinking, explaining that. For example, I look at a chart and people will say, well, why are you selling? For me already, there's so many logical steps that I've already taken, like high time frame trend, high time frame structure, whatever it might be. Dollar index is bullish, so I'm selling USD. So all that logical thinking comes into play. I think sometimes you forget that you have this knowledge. And the same thing with crypto as well. For you, you're not going into crypto, but if you invested in at the lows and it was just upside potential, then you must probably still invest in crypto. So I think it's just about sometimes just starting, taking the risk.
Cool. And then one final point, I have a question for you. What do you look for when you're about to enter a position? So whether it be it FX, indices, whatever you feel like trading.
Yeah, well, I think number one is, it's going to sound weird, but logical thinking. So for me, the key thing to any trader, whatever it might be, is building a core foundation of your trading. You need to have every tool in your toolbox ready before you even go live. And what I mean with that is you can't just buy a strategy. That's the weirdest thing that I've ever seen, people selling a strategy, like ICT concepts or SMC. You can't buy a strategy. It's a thing of the market will always move different. Some markets might be trending, some markets might be ranging. So for me, it's about building that core foundation first. So that's where logical thinking comes in. So if I look at USD, for example, I already know this week I'm looking for a short position. Why? Because number one, it's in a big hard time frame selling trend. Number two, dollar index is bullish. Obviously, number three, Trump's in office. Fundamentally, we're also there. The data is coming out good. We are obviously pushing towards greener and better data going into 2025 as well. It's a new year, new investment, new money pumping in. So everything is pointing logically for me to sell USD. And then from there, it's usually about one or two technicals. So I usually have one or two point of interest. So for example, I know we're sitting at the lows on USD. So if we had a new low, then I'll leave the market alone. But I'll try and identify, well, we have 2 points of interest. So where is price going to? I always call it like you get the analysis part of it, then you get the reaction part of it. So a lot of people can analyze the market, but not a lot of people can react to it. So yeah, I'm actually making it more complicating, but I'm just explaining like the whole concept. So if price reaches, for example, my point of interest 1 today, doesn't mean I'm just going to sell from that level. But if I do, then I'll make sure my risk management, my risk reward lines up. Because if I lose that trade, I lose 1%, I'll take the second POI, price drop from there, I make 6% back. So it's always just about, it's not even about the analysis and all these things that people tell you it's about. Sometimes it's just about having a steps process, having the correct risk management, correct trading plan ready for if you lose small, if you win big. And then obviously having the backing of logical thinking, which is something you build over time through just learning and education.
Okay, perfect.
Little bit of a longer answer than you expected.
Answer, I wish I had written it down.
No, I think the only reason...
Posted it somewhere. Hey guys, this is what you say. We break it down for you easy.
I think it's the thing is sometimes we just say it quite easily, but I think because I've been doing a lot of videos this weekend, and I'm actually realizing the things that I know that I don't know that I know. Because a lot of times I look at gold and I'm like, it's going to sell. Then people are like, it's that easy. But it's not that easy. I already have all these things running in my head before I actually take the trade. Yeah, 100%. Well, thanks, Shaun D. It was a good one. Thanks for KG behind the camera for taking care of us and making sure everything is operating.
Happy New Year to the viewers, and hopefully this year is a great year, better than last year.
Yeah, 100%. I think best of luck for everyone this year. Once again, remember, inflation is rising. Everything is going to a certain point where it's becoming uncomfortable in SA. So even if you don't get into Forex, even if you don't get into crypto, just get into something, learn some skills, build yourself, work on yourself, and just become the best version of yourself. All right. Cheers, everyone.